Welcome to the Dream Oracle podcast with your host, Ashley, where we journey through the realms of dreams to unveil the hidden messages of the subconscious. Join me as we connect to the divine and explore the deeper layers of the mind. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my very first episode with my new podcast name, the Dream Oracle Podcast. I'm so excited about this because I also, as you guys noticed, have created an intro, which took some YouTubing to figure that out, but I'm so proud of myself for doing that. I also, well, you'll have to wait till the end to see because that'll be a little surprise for you guys, but I'm excited about this for more than just the podcast, but also there's things happening externally that are just slowly coming to fruition. And once they do fully come to fruition, I will have an episode where I talk about that and everything that means. But I have had such an amazing last few weeks. I have been doing a class for Akashic Records. It's not just for Akashic Records. There's so much stuff that I'm learning in this class, and I wasn't expecting to be learning all that stuff, and I'm beyond thankful and just amazed at how much stuff is in the class and how much I've learned. And the person teaching the class, it's her and her friend, two amazing people. Love them. I'm so thankful that I've opened myself up. I signed up for the class, that I was chosen for the class because, again, it's a beta class and they only have a select few people that are doing the class. Once they open the doors fully to be teaching outside of the beta class and it's no longer beta, I will share all their information. The class itself is called Inner Mastery Advanced Training in the Akashic Records. Phenomenal information. It's been 2 weeks. There's just, it's so amazing, and I can't wait to share everything to do with the class. But for now, I still have one class for sure, possibly a fourth class. Everything so far has been so amazing, so I imagine going forward, it's going to be even more amazing. And I'm so thankful for them for doing that and me being a part of that. And the ladies doing the class too, just such a phenomenal group of women. I know for sure that we were all meant to come together and be in the same room and meet each other and just be doing all this stuff. It's just such an amazing experience. Another thing that I did have was a spiritual release therapist appointment. And I wasn't exactly sure what to expect from that appointment. My friend had gifted me a session for my birthday. Thank you very much. You know who you are. And again, I wasn't sure what to be expecting. So I went in there with no expectations. And it was also phenomenal. Like I thought that this was like, I didn't even know what I was thinking. My mind was all over the place. I had many thoughts, but I just went in there with no thoughts, no expectations. And coming from the appointment, I felt so much better after that appointment. And the stuff that came up during the appointment was stuff that I wasn't even thinking was going to come up. Now, she did do my numerology and touched base a little bit on my numerology. And she said dreams come up a lot in my numerology. And she showed me the little paper with the numbers on it. And she asked me, what number do you see the most? And she said the number, like I said the number 9. And she told me briefly like what that kind of correlates to with my numerology. And I don't like to put a title on things just because my name's Ashley. I'm not a psychic. I'm not a medium. I'm not, and like, that's not the title. I mean, I can do those things, but that's not who I am. But so she said the number 9 kind of correlates to the psychic abilities, and there's a lot of them. And she also went into that a little bit and gave me kind of pointers on things that I should be trying or doing and leaning into and trying differently. And it was just such an amazing experience that I wasn't expecting. And I'm also thankful, very thankful for that experience as well. And I appreciate that so much for the gift. And I know that there will be more sessions with her. So much to learn when you're on this spiritual journey. There's just so much to learn and so many realizations. I guess I should say relearn, because at some point somewhere in time, I already know this information. I'm just relearning it, I guess, or becoming conscious of it. Your mind just kind of gets rolling when you start talking about this stuff. At least mine does. And then once my mind gets going, my mouth doesn't stop either. Hence why I have a podcast, because I can talk. So I figured I'd bring it here, which, thank you guys so much for listening to me ramble every time I do post an episode. But I'm going to go into today's dream, and I am changing a little bit the way that I do read my dreams as well. I didn't think I was going to, but I'm going to, and I want to get into the dream because this dream is actually a pretty long dream. You guys are going to be questioning how the heck I have so much detail in my dreams, but you should know by now, I'm the dreamer, okay? That is why the name of the podcast is being changed to the Dream Oracle Podcast. So the title of this dream is Escaping Captivity. So in this dream, I went on a trip to a cottage with my friend and her mom. We were meeting a family member of theirs there. Sorry. When we got there, he wasn't there yet. So we unpacked and were enjoying the scene. I ended up going to take a shower, and their family member, who wasn't really their family member, came out of nowhere behind me in the shower and grabbed me from behind and covered my mouth. The next thing I remember is us being on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and I noticed the water was spreading open, and we ended up going to what seemed like another world. Once I made it to this other world, I noticed there was a lot of other women being held captive, but not locked up. We had this area that was almost like a cave, but big enough for a whole town, and each woman had their own room to sleep in with no doors or even electricity. And in the center was a common ground area. I felt very close to these women, and it felt like quite a bit of time had passed since I had been there. I remember being outside of our living area and looking up at the sky, seeing weird things happening, and I realized I was dreaming. The dream changed almost like a cutscene to where I somehow escaped this other world and made it back to my mom. However, they put a curse on you when you first get into the other world, where if you're not under the water, you turn into a small plastic version of yourself. When I made it to my mom, I was this plastic version. I somehow ended up in the tub with water running, and I could see myself growing into my normal human form. I told my mom to help set me free, but being my normal self gave my captor immediate knowledge of my whereabouts, and he captured me again, bringing me to the same water passage to get to the other world. Except this time the water didn't open. We just went under really fast, and I felt like I was drowning. End here. Now, I just want to, before I get into the cards, which I did pull 2 dream reading cards, again, the deck or cards that I use are dream reading cards by Rose and Sarah. I pulled water, and then the other one that I pulled was people. But before I get into those, I just kind of want to explain the openings, because I feel like the openings may have some significance. But when I first got captured and I went to this other world, the opening was like a portal at the bottom of the ocean or sea or whatever body of water it was. And the water was opening or spreading, kind of like was it Moses from the Bible? I'm sorry, I'm not religious, but when the Red Sea was parting, so kind of like that. And we went down into this portal. Now, I don't remember visually seeing that happen. I do remember seeing the water spreading, and then as soon as we started to go down, it was like we just instantly went into the other world. And then the second time that I got captured going into this other world, the water didn't spread like it did the first time, almost as if there wasn't enough time for that to happen. Like we just had to quickly get to the other world, and we just went under the water. And as soon as we went under the water the second time, I felt like I was drowning. So I feel like that might have some sort of significance to the meaning of this dream. Now, with everything that I've been going through, I know some of my dreams are a combination of, in my opinion, other realities, other dimensions, other parallel lives or past lives. but they do still hold some sort of significant meaning to this current present life that I'm living. Now, I'm going to read the first card here, which is the water card, and I have had that card multiple times. I think I'm going to read the whole meaning of this card. So the water card. Water represents your emotional, creative, and spiritual lives. And the themes are drowning, sailing, swimming, falling in, bathing, drinking, and washing. If you are swimming in a dream, look at the surroundings. It is a peaceful sea or a lake. Are you trapped in rapids or are there ocean waves? How you cope in these situations will reflect your emotional dramas in real life. If the waves are engulfing you and you begin to drown, you are feeling overwhelmed and helpless in your emotional life. Clear waters indicate that you will see your way through, but if it is murky, it means you are confused about emotional and spiritual aspects of your life. If you are diving into the deep, it suggests taking a risk and exploring your emotions at a deeper level. Flowing water reflects changes, but stagnant, muddy water means you're stuck. Sailing in calm waters is a metaphor for emotionally blissful life. A tempestuous ocean, that word is not temptation, it's tempestuous. A tempestuous ocean and hanging on for dear life on a boat or raft is the very opposite. Are you heading for the rocks? Do you need a lighthouse to shine its light on a problem? A swimming pool is contained so you don't like to take risks when it comes to challenging your emotions. Bathing suggests taking greater care of and pampering the body because it is a vessel for your emotions. Okay, I'm going to stop right there just to kind of go into a little bit of what I've been picking up so far and what correlates to my dream. So the first thing is what I had just read. So bathing suggests taking greater care of and pampering the body because it is a vessel for your emotions. It's also a symbol of regeneration. So in the dream, I had first started taking a shower, so bathing, and then all of a sudden, this person jumped out of nowhere and captured me and took me into this other world, which when I first entered the world, the water was clear, calm. The access to the other world was kind of, besides being captured, but the transition going into the other world was kind of not peaceful, but it was calm. Like I didn't feel like I was drowning. And then when I came back from that other world to my mom and then got captured again, returning to that world felt like I was drowning because the access wasn't as easy. And I think kind of what I'm getting from that is, one, I need to give myself more time to focus on myself, regenerate, heal, because I do live a busy life. And that has been coming to fruition, like taking time for myself and giving myself more time to myself as well as my children and family. That has been happening, and I'm very thankful that the universe is providing that. Now, I'm going to continue reading here. I'm just trying to think here what the other two... So, like I said, the first... I'm going to continue reading and I'll come back to that. So water is the greatest cleanser. Washing in dreams is about getting rid of emotional clutter and old belief systems. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for a second. So the fact that I was taking a shower, which symbolizes I need to focus more on, cleansing myself, getting rid of belief systems, old belief systems, as well as that first transition into the other world was peaceful. But then I'm trying to think of, so when I was in the other world, I felt connected to these women. And when I tried to escape the other world, I was captured again, and the transition back to that world was difficult. So I'm trying to find the correlation and what that means to me. Like that, I know the first part means or correlates to me. The message I'm getting from that is to give myself more time to focus on, I think, as like a lot of this spiritual stuff that's happening. And the fact that I need to get rid of old belief systems because there's so much ingrained with belief systems, especially stuff that's been passed down from generation to generation. Now, I'm not just talking about spiritually. I'm talking about even just normal mundane things like your mom taught you this, your mom's dad taught her that, or whoever. It's beliefs that have been taught down from generation to generation. For example, one of the first things that come to my mind is parenting, how you parent, what you should be telling your kids, how you should be grounding your kids, how you should be raising your kids. That's a belief system that has been passed down from generation to generation. And it's changing drastically. And a lot of people that's a topic that people can get heated on, like you should be beating your kids or punishing your kids and so on and so forth. I'm going off topic here, but I just wanted you guys to see that the belief systems aren't necessarily just linked to spiritual things. But for me, in this aspect, I think that this kind of correlates to getting rid of old belief systems, cleansing and getting rid of those belief systems and leaning into the spiritual side of things. And then the fact that when I first went into this other world, which for me, this other world, I have a lot of dreams where I'm trying to access a different dimension or going to a different dimension. I think that correlates to me connecting to the soul or the source and how I tune in and get my information from my higher self. I think that kind of symbolizes me connecting to my higher self, which is directly linked to the source. I'm connected to the source as well, which was one of the things I learned in that Akashic Records class. But I think for me, everything kind of correlates. That one scene going to the other side, how it was easy at first, just connects to or symbolizes me connecting to my higher self. And then I think, once I'm in there, there's all these other women who I do feel connected to that I think might be related to or getting, so information from all these other people who are spiritual like me. I've been doing research and finding like-minded people, getting their opinions and everything, and they've been giving me tips, tricks, and pointers and whatever. So I think that I took that information with me, escaped this realm, coming back to my mom or mundane realm, and I had all these beliefs from all these other people in my mind. And then trying to connect to and go back to the other side with all these beliefs attached to me are preventing me from connecting to fully, which I find that's interesting that I'm getting that information from this because of the conversation that I just had with one of the girls that are teaching this Akashic Records class. Very, very interesting. I'm going to continue reading to see if I get anything else from that. So I just read this part, and I want to read it again because I just kind of talked for a very long time, but water is the greatest cleanser. Washing in dreams is about getting rid of emotional clutter and old belief system. Drinking water or having water poured on you suggests purification and preparation for what is to come. Falling in water indicates not being prepared for an emotional event. A waterfall, however, is about needing to let go and releasing strong emotions. Floods and tidal waves swamp and overpower the dreamer and are therefore emotionally challenging. The dream is asking whether you can survive the emotional upheaval in your real life. So what I kind of take from that, and it all kind of connects together, is when we hold on to emotional trauma, that is weight. And I did just post something on my private social media the other day about emotions and what you get from them. So let's say you have an event that gives you an emotion, and that emotion also gives you a brick. Every time you experience an emotion, it's a brick handed to you. And you never put these bricks down. You keep getting these bricks, and you're holding on to these bricks and carrying them and keep going and going. Well, it's eventually going to be super heavy, and you can no longer go forward until you start processing the emotions that are attached to, I'm doing air quotes, the bricks, right? So if you start processing the emotions and the weight that those emotions have, you will be able to release and set down that brick and continue to go forward. And I'm not saying to forget the events that happened that gave you that emotion, but to process it. And we as humans experience many, many emotions that a lot of us, which comes back to the belief systems, are not allowed to experience them. For example, especially for men growing up, a lot of the parents said to them, suck it up, you're a man, you don't cry, men don't cry. That is absolutely false information. Any man, woman, doesn't matter what gender, sex, whatever, we are human. We are supposed to experience and process those emotions. The moment you're told you're not allowed to experience that emotion, you will not be able to process it. So you have to be allowed to experience whatever emotion you're feeling, process it, sit in that emotion for a moment, and then move past it. Not hold on to it. We're not meant to hold on to emotions. Now, we're going to experience the same emotion multiple times throughout life, many times. Multiple is not even the right word. But what makes it better is when we allow ourselves to fully sit in that emotion and process it and move past it. The next time we experience it, we know that we don't have to hold on to it. So going back to the dream itself for myself, so I'm showering at first, which symbolizes getting rid of old belief system, giving yourself more time to focus on yourself or myself, and then, going into basically this other realm, which I think is fully embracing myself, was easy at first, but then getting there and having these emotions that I felt and seeing all these other people that are there and I'm connecting to, and they, give me their beliefs and stories and so on and so forth, that weighs me down. I come back to my mom in the dream and in my human life or the existing realm that I was in. And when I get recaptured, going back into there, which I think for me is embracing myself fully, was hard to do because I have all these emotions and all these beliefs attached and tied to me. Carrying all those bricks is stopping me from going forward. So I need to process all these emotions and move past it and drop those bricks and make it lighter and easier to continue to fully embrace myself fully. And that is, I think, a lot of people struggle with is processing emotions. They hold on to it rather than process, let go, and move forward. That's a lot of information from one card. Now, I did pull another card, and I remember the other card is the card I read first. I don't even remember what I had highlighted that I was going to read, but let's see. So the other card I pulled was people, and then I'm not reading everything from this. I'm just going to read what I had highlighted. So people represent aspects of the self, each one an archetype of yourself. And then I'm just going to read this one part here. So archetypal characters are universal because they represent types of people we all encounter in our lives. In dreams, they symbolize the qualities within yourself or those you associate with others. So the fact that this one part said, in dreams, they symbolize the qualities within yourself or those you associate with others would correlate the fact that these other women that I had seen and connected to in the dream, that they would be the people that I've connected to like spiritually in my waking life that have given me information and their beliefs and their tips and tricks. So I think that's very interesting that I read this card first, had highlighted stuff that I was going to talk about, but then I ended up reading the water card first. Now, I did highlight some other stuff. And so a woman dreaming of other women represents those feminine aspects of herself. So I think the fact that I'm just trying to I'm going to read that again. So a woman dreaming of other women represents those feminine aspects of herself. So I think that I need to connect to or connect more to my feminine aspects, I feel like I might have, tucked my feminine side away for quite some time. And now that like I'm fully embracing myself, I'm allowing all those aspects to come out. Even growing up, I was such a little tomboy, but that's who I am. I'm still not like super girly or anything like that. Like, I do dress up once in a while, but I think that that's not even what I'm talking about, feminine aspects. But a lot of people correlate, a woman wearing high heels and a dress and all that to the feminine aspects, which, yeah, okay, that is a feminine aspect. But I'm talking about like internally, like the feminine aspects internally. I'm talking about like compassion, nurturing, sensitivity, empathy, expressiveness, and basically just embracing myself fully and allowing myself to express and nurture myself as well as, those around me. Now, I did highlight one other part here. So strangers represent parts of yourself that you haven't explored yet or are afraid to explore. So I think with that, there's so many things that this dream like has multiple meanings or dual meanings. I don't know what the proper term for that is, but the women in my dream, when I went to that other realm, I felt like I connected to them. So I think that they could also symbolize the feminine aspects of myself that I need to connect to, which is very interesting. There's so many like dual meanings for things, and I'm starting to learn a lot about that. But I think, and I know I've said this before, the only person who can interpret your dream fully, 100% is yourself, because you're the only one who knows yourself fully and internally, externally, like every aspect about you inside and out. You're the only one who knows that. So for me, what I do when I interpret my own dreams is I take what resonates the most with me. And there could be multiple meanings for each thing. Even when I go back and read my dreams again, I get different things because I'm learning. One, I'm learning. And two, there could be multiple meanings for that dream. You just have to find them. Anyways, I'm going to move on to the oracle because as you guys could tell, I could ramble and ramble forever and ever, but I'm going to do the oracle reading. And again, when I do these oracle readings, I basically just ask what message. I guess I'm kind of changing what I ask too, but I'm this time around, I'm going to ask what message I need to take from this dream, which is basically what I ask anytime that I've done the oracle readings. But that's what I'm specifically going to be asking is what message do I need to take from this dream? So I always stop my recording when I do the shuffling. And I did just do that. And the card that I got was card number 47, which is awakening. And on the card itself, it says, your consciousness is awakening. You are becoming attuned to the messages of the spirit and nature. Trust your psychic abilities, which I find is very interesting with what I'd said at the beginning of this episode when I went for that spiritual release therapist appointment, how she did a little bit of my numerology and it showed the number 9s and mentioned that 9 is correlated to psychic abilities and there's a lot of them. I'm going to read the card. So as you start to walk out on the way appears. You are in the process of a spiritual awakening. Pay attention to premonitions, forewarnings, signs, coincidences. That was a hard word to get out. Precognitive dreams, and other sixth sensory information. Messages from the spirit, nature spirits, and the animal kingdom are being given to you. Be aware that they are communicating with you through everyday synchronicities, which I find very interesting because I have been opening my eyes, my 3 eyes, I guess, to all the synchronicities. And it's amazing if you just pay attention to the universe and not just the birds singing, the wind blowing, but everything, even songs coming on the radio. a lot of people might say that's just a coincidence. Well, no, that if you pay attention to and are open to receiving those messages, that's a message. I'm going to continue reading here. You are open to developing your intuition. You may receive telepathic messages and psychic information through your dreams, music, art, meditation, and walking in nature. Trust your intuition and embrace your new enlightenment. It is ancient wisdom passed down from your ancestors. Know that your thoughts have energy and that they'll have consequences if not used for good. Respect your wise heritage and access the ancient magical wisdom to enable you to support others on their spiritual journeys. I love that because not only do I want to learn for myself, but what I do learn that resonates with me, I love to share with others. And I hope to one day be able to teach everything that I've learned, everything that I'm going to learn, and just everything that I'm embracing and opening myself up to. And I don't want to only do this for myself, but I love connecting to other people and giving them a sense of healing or helping them move past something that they're stuck on. And that's my goal and motivation and the reason why I do these things that I do and why I'm embracing the things that I'm embracing. So for myself and for others as well. Now, I'm going to continue reading here. So you are surrounded by the qualities of clairvoyance, clairaudience, and empathy. They're essential in accessing the ethereal world beyond your five senses. Expand your beliefs and open your heart to this new knowledge, as it will serve to awaken you to the gifts of psychic awareness. Embrace these gifts and trust that your soul wishes to experience the divine within. Healing energies surround you at this time. This is a sign that you are sufficiently evolved from them to enter your sphere. Trust your imagination, insights, visions, and the messages that you hear. Listen to what the spirit is telling you and awaken your potential. That is also very interesting because I'm getting better with it, but I do struggle a lot with questioning myself when I get messages or visions or thoughts or the sense of knowing. There's a lot of different there's like clairaudience, clairsentience, and I don't even know all the clairs, but I experience a lot of them, but I also question myself, is that what's happening? And again, like I said, I'm getting better with it. I'm getting better with embracing and trusting and knowing that that is what is happening. As I say that, I'm getting like chills on my left side, which is, I'm learning is the feminine side. I mean, there's so many beliefs to everything. Like there's the feminine side, there's the spirits. Like I don't know everything there is to know about all of this stuff. And again, I'm not trying to insert those beliefs as we talked about, but anywho, so I have read that the left side is the feminine side. But anyways, like I said, I am getting better at trusting myself, my higher self, to all these things and messages that I'm receiving in many different ways. I am getting better with trusting myself and knowing that the messages I am receiving are actually messages. And it's even just that thought process of knowing that they are messages are bringing me closer to myself and my higher self and the source and just more messages to keep coming in. So there it is, guys. My first episode with my new podcast name. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you guys listening, and I enjoy every moment of this experience that we're experiencing together. Thank you for dreaming with me. If you enjoyed this journey, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. Until next time, stay open, stay curious, and trust the wisdom of your subconscious. Sweet dreams, everyone.